Do you have a Pride Mobility Jazzy Carbon and need to replace the Micon controller module, which is located on the back side of the chair? Watch this video and I will give you a full demonstration on how to replace the controller on your Pride Mobility Jazzy Carbon. In this video tutorial, you will learn not only how to replace the control module, but understand how it's wired and how the chair functions. The control module is essentially the brain to an electric wheelchair. Whichever direction the joystick is pressed, the controller responds to its precise movement, guiding you effortlessly to your destination. So as we move on to the repair of this electric wheelchair, the first thing we're going to want to do is remove the battery from the wheelchair. This will ensure and prevent any electrical shortages to the Jazzy Carbon electronics. We will also be using some basic tools for the removal and installation of the control module. A good Phillips head screwdriver, a pair of good pliers, and some snips should do the trick. We are replacing the controller on this chair, which is nearly 3 years old. As you can see, the chair gets plenty of use, and I suspect long-term moisture exposure to be the culprit. The controller sometimes throws false positive, preventing the chair from being used. We have already tested the other components to identify that the controller needs to be replaced, so let's do that. So what we're doing here is cutting away all the zip ties so that we can free up the wires. And I need to get into this underneath cover here. So we're going to remove a few screws that are around this L-shaped piece that you see here with the wires coming out of it. That is where all of our connections to the control module go. Now there's separate connections for the left motor, the right motor, the battery, and the joystick. So the far left side is the joystick cable. We're going to go ahead and remove that and everything else around it. I'm going to remove the joystick cable and replace it just because it's possible that there is something wrong with the joystick cable and we want to make sure there's no communication issues. So I want to make mention here that if you get a replacement, you're probably going to get a replacement with a label that has Chinese written on it. I don't understand Chinese, but this is what we got going on here. So it is color coded. Uh, Blue goes to C, yellow goes to B as in boy, and brown goes to A as in alpha. And those are the three wires that go to the left motor. What we're going to do is do the same thing for the right motor as well. Right now I'm disconnecting the positive and negative to the battery and then moving on over to the right motor. Again, each motor has its own separate connection. Once we have all of our wires disconnected, we will be able to remove the remaining 4 mounting screws and nuts. And on the back side of the controller, you're just going to need a pair of pliers to hold the nut and use the screwdriver to back them off. And you're just going to do one at a time. And once you get out all the screws, you will be able to remove the controller with ease. So again, I'm just speeding it up just to show you what it's like. Once the 4 nuts and bolts have been removed, you can go ahead and grab the replacement control module and begin the mounting process of the installation. Notice how I kept the control module sitting below the new control module. This I'm just using as a reference because I didn't take a picture, and you might want to do this or pause the video so you can remember which wires go where. And remember, as we go ahead and we put on the nut and bolts, make sure that you don't over tighten them. You just want them to be nice and snug because the control module is just mounted to the frame. It doesn't need to be tightened down with all your force. So now that we have our new controller mounted, let's go ahead and start hooking it up. The leads I have in my hand are the positive and negative for the battery. So let's go ahead and hook that up. We have disconnected the battery, but what that goes to is the battery terminals. So let's make sure we hook up the black with the negative and the red with the positive. Again, there's no current going into the chair. The battery is not connected. And if yours is, you should consider disconnecting it. So up in the top right hand corner, you're going to see a picture of the controller as it was installed before I started pulling out all the color connections. C as in cat is blue, B as in boy is yellow, and A as in alpha is brown. And you're going to have a left motor and a right motor. And the way to determine which motor is which is it matters in the orientation that you're sitting down. So the right hand side motor, as I'm facing it right now, is the right hand motor. The left hand motor is on my left hand. That is my left motor. So let's go ahead, plug everything in as it should, and we're going to go ahead and move on up to securing these wires. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you do. We are always uploading useful content like this to help end users and even other dealers learn the ins and outs of the products that we sell. Most oftentimes, a technician isn't needed to resolve your problems, and with some simple tools and diagnosing, you could get your mobility device working too and save big money. So upon installing all of the wires, I noticed that I had the joystick cable left and that something was plugged into the wrong place. And it's actually the right hand motor. I need to swap that around. It's the same connection and put it into the right spot. So I'm going to unplug that and put it in its correct position on the controller and then go ahead and plug in my joystick wire and then get that secure. Once we have securely made the joystick wire connection to the joystick, we can then begin securing the wires to the frame. You should do your best to put the wires back in the same position or orientation that they were originally in. And make sure that once you have your zip ties put in place that you do a test to fold the wheelchair and to make sure that your wire routing job does not inhibit the folding ability because you could potentially damage your chair if you don't put the wires back correctly. Now, it's very important that you get this little rubber grommet into place because that acts as a little water resistant seal into the control module. So if you have somebody that is incontinent and they happen to urine, there's a potential chance that the control module could get damaged if you don't have that in place. So let's continue getting our zip ties in place and routed so we can finish up this job and get this chair back to our customer that is in need of their Jazzy Carbon electric wheelchair. And now that we have our zip ties in place and our wires routed correctly, let's go ahead and do a little folding test to make sure nothing is in the way. So as you can see, the chair here is going to freely fold and the wires are not in a position where they can get pinched. So let's open up the chair and finish up the job. Let's finish off here by tidying up the wires and finish installing the joystick cable. Let's put our wire clips back into place so that we can have our joystick cable is securely mounted to the wheelchair. If you are in need of parts for your electric wheelchair, make sure you visit our website, mobilitydirect.com. We have an entire catalog dedicated to parts for your Pride electric wheelchair or mobility scooter. If you need some assistance, give us a call and one of our experienced technicians will help assist you with locating the right part. Make sure you have your product serial number available and handy. After you look everything over, it's going to be a final test to make sure everything is routed the correct way and that the wheelchair freely opens and closes. So we're good here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is cut away the remaining parts of our zip ties and install our battery and give the chair a test. So as you can see, the chair has powered up. It is moving forward. It is moving back. It is moving left. It is swinging right. We have completed the job, and that is how you install the control module on a Pride Mobility Jazzy Carbon electric wheelchair. Well guys, this is going to wrap up our video of replacing the controller on a Pride Mobility Jazzy Carbon. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. Leave us a comment below on what you think of this video or if you have any questions or requests. We'd love to hear from our subscribers and viewers. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be able to bring you the industry's most informative content. As a friendly reminder, please subscribe to our channel. It's free and it will keep you up to date with our latest and greatest product reviews, unboxings, ride-alongs, and much more. I'm Drew with Mobility Direct. Don't have a good day. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.